It's barely noticeable. If I weren't like an amazing DP,
Yeah.
Most normal people wouldn't be able to notice.
So if you weren't a weirdo who cared way too much about the visuals,
Yep.
it'd be fine. All right, guys, let's make quick of this chop suey known as Mission Impossible. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today we are talking Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm Ravi, joined by my two brothers,
Arjuna.
Krishna.
and our producer,
Michael.
And we
are Was It Good?
If you choose to accept.
This is MI5?
7.
This is the
Seven.
seventh one. Yes, they've
What-
made 7 of these.
What was the name of the organization that they worked for?
IMF.
Impossible Mission Force.
Amazing name. Real quick, that was actually let's start this off because I have seen all of the Mission Impossibles, but I could not tell you the plot of any single film prior to the
Yes,
one that
you
I
could.
just saw.
Yes, you could.
I could.
The Mission was impossible.
Do you want me to?
The last Mission Impossible,
yeah.
the three of us saw. Sorry, Michael, saw together was the last one.
I was there.
at Paramount Studios when I lived in Hollywood.
Right,
across
because they
from
were
there.
doing
they invited
an
people.
outreach thing.
They invited people in the neighborhood, and I
Right.
brought you guys, and we ate food, and we went into the theater,
And that was Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In 2018 with Henry Cavill.
yeah. And we wondered if Tom Cruise would
Great
show up,
movie.
and then he didn't. But remember, they gave us like full boxes of candy and the full apps, and it was an open bar.
I felt like a king.
It was great.
Well, it was amazing because you and I think you did. I think we smoked a bunch before we went too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then it's an open bar, and then all this candy. So there's a reason probably I don't remember that film that well.
It's to do with mind-altering drugs like sugar
And weed.
other things.
But my big question here is for anyone that can remember the other films and the history of the films and plot things and whatnot, the IMF. Have we ever been told prior to this film what IMF stood for?
yeah,
Okay, good. So this wasn't the first time.
No.
Okay, so I shouldn't have laughed
no.
as much as I
So
did.
Mission Impossible.
No, I think so. I think laughing was fine.
Because it's supposed to like Mission Impossible. The movies are based off of the TV show, right? And
Wow, I didn't know
there's-
that.
there's always
Blowing my mind.
There's always there's always been a cheesiness
Sure.
to the TV series at least, and even like the earlier Mission Impossibles kind of leaned into that a little bit more. Since like J.J. Abrams came aboard on the third one, and then Christopher, how do you say his last name? McQuarrie.
McQuarrie, yeah.
McQuarrie, who's done the last 3 Mission
Last
Impossible
3. Brad Bird did Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. They've added like a more they've made it a little bit more realistic, but there's still these cheesy elements, right? Like they have the face masks that they rip off. You know what I mean? Like it's not your James Bond. It's not your, Bisleen's closer, not full on Fast and Furious.
Sure.
But it's closer to that, I would say, in terms of like realism than it is
Right.
maybe like some of the other spy.
But also,
thrillers out there.
like to tie in back to the Fast and the Furious piece, like especially in this movie where Simon Pegg has to talk about what he's most afraid of, which is like losing his friends, and then when Rebecca Ferguson's character is saying, no one is important, the mission is the most important thing, and Tom Cruise is like, no, family.
Okay,
I care
Ryan,
about family.
We'll get to this,
But he said, I don't accept that.
Sure, but it was very
Which
much
is
it
basically-
felt- it's the same thing where it's like
I don't
you guys
have
are
friends.
everything to me, and it's
we'll get to
Yeah.
this, but I do love the line when they're at the party and the main guy Gabriel is like, one of these two women will die tonight.
sure.
And Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt says, if either of them get harmed, I will hunt you down. Granted, one of the female characters who he's saying this about, he has met about 24 hours before
Yes.
and knows nothing about.
And that's Haley
Atwell's character, Grace.
Grace. That's
The Ethan Hunt replacement.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Whoa, that's an interesting take.
I think they're grooming her to take his place.
Interesting. I mean, I would
Just
hope,
like they did with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
And then disappear.
Yeah, he just didn't show up for Fallout.
No, they're just like, oh, okay.
I thought
Well,
his
you know-
character was bad.
no, he was good.
He turned out to be good, but what I heard is he was going to come back for Fallout to die.
And then he was like, I don't wanna
Macquarie
do
was
that.
going to kill him in the beginning when Luther was going to die.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was like, I'm not going to come back for 3 days and take a paycheck just to get blown up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
But they
I
originally
guess.
they had
That's fair.
originally cast Simon Pegg in that first Mission Impossible because Tom Cruise is an older actor. He's not in his prime.
61.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, we need a replacement. Like
Right.
this is when Jeremy Renner was going to be the replacement guy. He was replacing Ethan.
Sure.
He was replacing Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible.
Sure.
He was replacing Jason Bourne in the Bourne movies.
Right.
They're like, this is the guy. And then all of his things failed, and he didn't replace anybody.
Yeah.
So I didn't look at Haley Atwell's character Grace as a replacement for Tom Cruise.
Oh, she's clearly a replacement for
Rebecca Ferguson's character.
if she's even
Ilsa.
for real dead.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't turn into a scroll.
Well, I think the reason she replaced Ilsa is because Ilsa was going to replace Hunt, and then Ferguson's got other stuff to do now. So they
better
need
things.
somebody who
Dune
got
and
cut in
Silo.
half in Marvel to come back and be Ethan Hunt.
We're all over the place to start.
That's fine. I mean, you're blowing my mind with the.
It was a
I
TV show?
truly
TV
did not
series?
know it was a TV show.
Hey,
before
did
this.
you know that
Yeah.
John Voight's character from the first movie
Yeah.
was the good guy protagonist from the TV show turned bad?
But that's why people
Again,
that was
a
I-
big
I-
twist.
I-
A big-
if I didn't know there was a TV show, I wouldn't know that. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. And it was from 1966 to 1972.
And I think there was one in the late 80s or early 90s that
I'm
came
not sure.
back.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely
That
sure.
is that's wild. That I'm glad
It was
that-
very popular too.
I'm very glad that I went and saw this movie. Because, like, there on occasion, we'll do pause that one of us, maybe two of us, or all of us are just like, why are we doing this? And this was definitely, like, borderline for me. But just finding out about that, even though, like, I've known about the Mission Impossible world since, like, my first, like, memory of Mission Impossible was the N64 game.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then based off of that, then asking the parents, well, what is this? And then showing us at some point the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, first and second one.
Yeah,
because those are the only two.
that's
out.
how I got
Yeah.
into Mission Impossible was through N64 and video games. So the fact that it was a TV, that's just wild.
They made it work. They successfully tricked you.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys didn't go see the first one in theaters?
No.
We were like
Too
5.
young.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was one of the first ones I drove to.
Whoa!
You old
pretty
fuck.
cool.
Is this back when 12 and 13-year-olds could get driver's licenses in America?
yeah, there we go. Hey, good save.
I was 16.
I would hope so. Otherwise, I feel like there's
different laws in different states.
bigger fucking problems.
But that's a big cat.
That is a big cat. Is that right in the
Proving
middle?
himself. Just right in the middle
Just
of that
right there.
camera. Jesus.
What's up?
He's attempting to do his mission impossible force.
Yeah, we left word.
Real quick, I want to give credence to Learman's theory that Haley Atwell is the Ethan Hunt replacement. Because I'd like to bring up the fact that the scenario that they've introduced in Dead Reckoning 1, and presumably is going to be the scenario in Dead Reckoning Part 2, is as big as you can get. It's an AI that controls everything. If you think about it, after this movie, if Tom Cruise was to do another one, there really isn't much. You can't really get much bigger than what they've introduced. And
Aliens. I was gonna say aliens.
yeah, you could go that way, but that seems like a little too world breaking for this franchise. So,
And what would aliens do that the entity cannot?
That's also true because the entity can replace all of digital.
it's gone. It's basically
Information,
gone.
all of our digital information, and it can change and it can threaten people. Which I don't know if you guys watched. I think season 5,
Manifest?
maybe season 4 or 5 of Black Mirror. There is basically an episode, a very disturbing episode. I don't recommend it for anyone. It's not that it's an AI controlling people. It's more of like a troll that's able to blackmail people to go and do things because of like their digital signature and being able to get that information. And this movie definitely reminded me of like that Black Mirror episode and like technology going wrong and whatnot, which is the entire premise, right, of Black Mirror. But I think to your point though, Christian, where it's like, where else could they go with this? I think
With Tom Cruise.
well, not even just with Tom Cruise, but just the idea of Mission Impossible. I think the thing that's kind of freaky and scary is 15 years ago, I don't think we would have had this idea of like AI becoming sentient, becoming the entity and doing whatever. There might have been like some sort of a general idea, but like it makes sense in today's world, right?
I mean, that idea's been around. Like T2 did it. You know, like the Terminator
Sure,
franchise
sure,
was all
but
about robots.
what I mean
kinda
though, like, but
uprising.
doing it in the way that they did it with this film, where it's
Sure.
like
Or
in the
introducing it-
in the spy versus spy sense.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is that we don't know where technology, secret government agents, the world is going. Like in 10 years, everything could look
Right, Tom Cruise will only be
Weird.
75 in 15 years.
Exactly, and
so
he's
he
got
can
that-
still pump him out.
He's got that
could be-
Xenu blood.
I mean,
you know?
I don't think anyone predicted when like these first few Mission Impossible movies came out that there would be 7 of them. I mean,
I did. I said I turned to my guys at the end, my friends at the end when I was 16. I was like, you know what? There's going to be 9 more of these.
you should have put money on that.
I did. I have $1 million. Right? I don't have anything. I didn't say that. And I know I don't get to do bold predictions, but I think Ethan dies in the next one. Just saying it before somebody else does.
Dang, just take everybody. Hey,
That's good.
write it down. Lehrman, just say throw it in.
We are jumping all over.
That's fine.
We're dead reckoning.
Lehrman, can you tell everybody what the definition of dead reckoning is?
Well, yeah. So dead reckoning is navigating point by point via the last point that you were at and using guideposts. So it's navigating without knowing where you're going, which is what the sub was doing, but also what Ethan Hunt and his team were doing this entire thing. As they search for a key, they don't know to what it opens.
Dead reckoning.
Step by step.
Day by day.
I do like that you like. We know that after the fact of seeing the movie. You don't know that before going into the movie. That's an actual term or whatever.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
kinda fun,
either.
It also
though.
just sounds cool, you know.
called
Dead
Knuckle.
reckoning.
Yeah.
Shout out to our TikTok. TikTok was a good pod where we post kind of like big FAQs and things on movies when we see them early. And unfortunately, when I posted that video, I don't know if anyone caught it here. I didn't call the movie Dead Reckoning. I called it Death Reckoning.
Oh, I didn't catch
even
that.
better.
So thank goodness for captions.
Classic
'Cause that-
Raviism.
Yeah, covers it for you.
I think the name also lends credence to the fact that Ethan dies because it's called Dead Reckoning, and they keep talking about how this is a reckoning for him, don't they? Or was that Fallout? I watched all the Mission Impossible this weekend. I'm psyched.
Yeah, there probably is one giant movie for you right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is kind of.
All right, let's get back into formula, I guess. Let's get into one-word impressions. Christian, let's hear you. What is your one word to sum up your movie-going experience?
I'm going to go with comedy.
Yeah.
So I know Arjuna kind of said a few minutes ago that the Mission Impossibles are getting more like realistic. And I actually do agree with that up until this one. This one, because of the AI, because of the stunts, the out-of-this-world stunts that could never happen in real life, this one felt like more over the top than previous entries. And I was talking with Learman about this last night when we were playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Shameless plug.
The comedy stood out even more because there were these like really dramatic, slow, quiet moments, right? And to me, Ethan Hunt's never been funnier. Or Tom Cruise has never been funnier playing this like deadpan character. Like even when he's like driving up the mountain and Simon Pegg's character is like, just keep going. And Tom Cruise is like, okay, yeah, no, I will. And he's just heading straight for a mountain. Like he hasn't realized yet.
Yeah.
He's about to climb this like mountain. And so it's just like these moments of, I thought were hilarious. And Ravi, you even said it, right? Like
Yeah.
the IMF line, and you burst out laughing. Ravi had the privilege of watching this movie alone.
Yeah, I did.
By himself. So, I had a lot of fun with this movie, and a lot of the reason is because Tom Cruise has never been funnier in this deadpan role. His funniest role is definitely Tropic Thunder. Like, you can't beat that. But he was trying to be funny. That's over the top.
Right.
Like, that was the point. Was the comedy.
Goofiness.
In this movie, I don't know if he was trying to be funny. It just came across as really funny. So ironically funny, unintentionally funny, which
funny,
makes
I
it
think.
funnier.
Right.
Yeah. So comedy.
Nice. It's a good one. I thought you were gonna honestly kind of break down like the Greek meaning for some reason of comedy, which is, I believe, talking of tragedy or something, right? I might be way out there, and I don't know my old school Greek terms in terms of plays and things, but I believe there's a tine or something. So
They're opposites.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Comedy starts out bad, ends good.
Right.
Tragedy starts good, ends bad.
Right. So that's why I thought you were going with this. That's why I was very confused because I was like, oh, no, you're just going the traditional sense.
Yeah. No, it was just funny. Yeah. It was funny to me.
Nice. Do you want to go next?
Sure.
Or? Okay. There's no way you'll get mine. So go ahead.
My one word is diesel.
Oh damn! Like the choo-choo train?
No, like Vin Diesel.
Oh, I thought you meant the jeans.
That's very, very specific.
And the reason I wanted to do Diesel for Vin Diesel is because there's a sequence in this movie that's in Rome. And Vin Diesel had a little movie this summer called Fast X that came out.
Yes.
And they also had a sequence that was in Rome that was very much in the same area, like those steps and everything where they had drive the
They're
cars
called the
and everything.
Spanish Steps, and I've been there, and it's a terrible place.
So that was prominently featured in that movie as well. And that whole sequence was going by, and I was like, wait, I just saw this like 2 months ago. This is weird.
Rome
right?
is under attack.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. I mean, like my mind started racing, and I was like, did everyone just shoot there at the same time because they could?
Probably.
And like it was during because like this movie was delayed because of COVID, right?
Yep.
There was the infamous like Tom Cruise yelling at crew because they weren't wearing masks. Whole story that came out.
Did you see Did you see Fast X?
I did.
So was it just in Rome, or did they also go to Venice?
No, they didn't go to Venice.
Okay.
They went to other places. But
In Italy, or
No, I don't think they went.
Just
They
Rome?
went to South America.
Okay.
They were in LA, and there was one more place they went to. But you know how these big budget movies are. They like go to 4 locations
Right.
because it's like for the movie and also for the vacation for the cast.
of course?
You know, like
But
Adam
Rome,
Sandler.
Rome's not a vacation spot. Just FYI.
It is for most people, but not for you.
Weirdos.
Not for you. So yeah, I wanted to do that because like that, and there were a few other not as strong as that, but there, and you'll see it in my chapter listing. There were just these other comparisons where I just immediately thought of other movies that had done it or other things.
So it's interesting you say that because the Uncharted 2 video game director,
Uncharted 3.
I think,
Yeah.
He came, I think, today and was talking about there's the
train sequence.
The train sequence when Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell are like crawling
Grace,
up or whatever,
yeah.
and how similar that sequence is to
into the game.
In the game,
The game
or whatever.
starts with you in that train,
Yeah.
and you're literally climbing up the train just like that. And that was the first thing I thought. I'm like Uncharted 3,
Yep.
right there.
wild.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, was it 2?
It was 3.
It was. Okay. I believe
I was
you.
just like, this is nuts. I'm like, wait, this is the game.
Damn.
Yeah.
But they aren't the
crazy.
first to copy it, though. Wasn't there another movie?
No, there's
that did
tons
that?
of movies.
And I'm sure the game
yeah,
copied
it
it,
would-
from somewhere else too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue
know
like
what I mean?
Jurassic Park 2, right? When
Yeah, that's
Jeff
possible.
Goldblum they're in the Jurassic vehicle thing, and they're hanging off the. Everybody does.
But that was
yeah.
after. That was before.
Yeah,
That,
always before.
That was before Uncharted.
It just there are a lot of things that stuck out to me in this movie. A lot of different like
copy paste.
copy pastes of interesting, and maybe I just had a different view. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that, right? A lot of blockbusters do it. This is not anything unique, but it did throw me a little with this movie.
Do you think Fast X or Mission Impossible filmed their Venice scene first?
I think Mission Impossible.
Well,
I think-
okay, Rome.
I think Mission Impossible probably did because they had the longer shutdown because of COVID. And I've also heard that the Fast and Furious movies are like messes of production and then they like don't know what they're doing. So I would say Mission Impossible probably did it first.
Interesting. I mean, mine's I guess a little similar because of your reasoning behind Diesel. Mine was just simply cobblestone.
Oh, yeah.
Ravi versus Cobblestone is the battle of the century. You hate Cobblestone, right?
I fucking hate cobblestone, but. So I recently I've just come back from Italy.
What a flex.
I was in
I came back from Italy recently.
I know. I was
yeah,
in Rome.
right.
I was in Venice. It was kind of fascinating and interesting to like see a lot of these locations. The couple that stood out when they're at the Colosseum, and there's a shot of like the Colosseum, and you've got like the majority of the structure like still intact, and you're looking right there. Like, you know, I was standing right there at one point. But what's hilarious is like the idea is that right across from that location is a police station, which is not the case. It's the subway or the metro or whatever. So I thought that was funny. But then also just the amount of cobblestone everywhere. And then Grace, Haley Atwell's character, when she escapes and she's driving the BMW, she makes a comment of like, why were they parked like this? And like how tight and narrow the streets were. And it's true. Like it's terrible. Like we literally witnessed, I think 2 or 3 times, people like hitting each other's cars because there's just no fucking room in the narrow ass streets.
Well,
like,
you know,
get
the streets
around.
weren't designed for cars.
I know. So what you should do is
It's like Boston.
make them like redo this. Like,
Well, that's easier said than done. Like when you have just
I know,
really
I
old
know,
architecture
I know,
and
historical
everything.
stuff in there.
I don't know if
Plus
it's
the buildings are kind of in the way.
Yeah, knock it all down. It's fine.
Yeah, wow. Well, how that
How
would be
hard,
expensive.
how hard could that be? Get a bulldozer thing and just
You
bulldoze
should do
it up.
that. Why don't you go do that?
I will. I'll be right
Out
back.
with the old and with the new and better.
Exactly.
So our one-word sentence impression is comedy cobblestone diesel.
Sounds like a screamo band.
CCD.
I'll also say that Ravi, I totally forgot. The funniest part of the movie was probably that Haley Atwell driving scene when she's just skidding around.
Oh, in the Fiat.
I for like 5 minutes, I was like, this is hilarious.
It's Mr. Bean. It was
Yeah,
Mr. Bean.
It's Mr.
It was
Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, man,
Funniest-
it just looks
like
on.
funniest Mission Impossible scene in Mission Impossible history.
Right.
It's
And were
probably
they
not
making
gross.
fun of electric cars or?
I think it's just her driving.
It felt like, I don't know. I
It
found
felt
some of
too
that stuff
goofy.
weird. I
Yeah.
felt some that stuff felt like weird in that weird Tom Cruise like zeitgeist of like, well, let's put this in so like I am the one that knows how to drive the car. You know what I mean? And
But he also
there was
wrecked the
something-
car.
That's true, he did. But there were just like things where it's like, I am the same. I am Tom Cruise.
Wait.
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
fair-
no,
wait,
yeah.
To be fair though, that's every Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Every
Oh, for
single
sure.
Tom.
It just
yeah.
stood out even more for me in this movie for whatever reason. Or I was just like,
That did stand out to me because there was the scene in the beginning where he's like, oh, sometimes they set him up differently. And she's like, it's all right, it's all right. And then he crashes and then they go. But then she has a harder time than he does because she's a woman. Women drivers.
that's
Not because of the training, the IMF training, and
No. That's not my views, but that's the impression I got.
that's the impression I got too.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, let's dig into it a little bit more. The entire sequence where the choice is being made, where it's between Grace and
Ilsa.
and even like the fight sequence between like Tom Cruise's character
Ethan
and
Hunt.
Paris, right? Palm,
Clemenov.
right? Like that sequence is very, very fucking brutal between Gabriel and then
Ilsa.
Grace and Ilsa. That's also super brutal in terms of like we're men and we're all powerful and nothing can stop us. Like I don't know. That whole thing and that entire sequence did bother me where it just came across, I think, just too over the top where it's like nothing can happen without me, essentially.
Also, like their fates being tied to like a dude, you
Right,
know, like
it's kind of-
I'm the one that gets to. You're the one, Ethan, that
Right.
gets to decide. Not these like independent characters. They're just kind of like
Yeah.
your love interests or
Right.
your romantic partners or the people that you're interacting with. It was
Which
it
again,
was just done in a
right.
strange
And
way.
again, it goes back to like I'll call it out. It's just called the Tom Cruise thing, like the Tom Cruise bubble, where it's like he has to be the fucking savior, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know.
It's the Scientology.
I mean, he is the protagonist of the film. Like that was one of the things I was thinking
Sure.
about in one of the shots where it was like focused on him, and in time when everybody was worried, and I was like, oh yeah, it's his mood. Like he's the protagonist.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we've put Benji and all of them in trouble before, so it is weird, but also like,
What else were they going to do?
what else were they going to do? And is it just us thinking about it that way, or
Maybe.
Could be.
I don't know. But yeah, it's a good.
I
point.
mean, regardless, it did take me out of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Like,
fair enough.
I think like the effect that they wanted didn't hit with me at least. in terms of like even feeling like it was real stakes. It just felt cheap to me. It's like, well, we can't have two female characters here, so we're going to take out one. They kind of did the same thing in the last movie, right? They're like, they have the whole thing with like Bridget Moynihan's character coming back, who's his wife, and she's like, I give you permission to move on with Ilsa. And like, that was kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever. Like, okay. Like, they didn't kill her, but they were like, I'm happy, and now you can be happy.
I mean,
and it's just like,
Yeah.
he can't have two people he might be interested in. It can only be one at a time.
Right,
He's
right.
like, all right, they got to move on, so she's got to die.
The Luther thing in that one, though, seemed like he was like, he can't love anybody because he loves everybody.
Yeah, I was just like, what is this?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Weird. But
I mean, it also it's the worst thing to say, but it also how this movie played out, the scenes and those aspects of this film also, I think, tying directly as to why the film is doing so well on Rotten Tomatoes, both critic and audience. Because it hits a core thing in the critic movie review thing, which is the whatever you want to call it, space, whatever.
it's also the cruise, like, everyone's like, Tom Cruise saved
God.
cinema.
Right.
There's a war between him and Christopher Nolan right now.
There is, yeah.
Because he shot this for IMAX, but he only gets a week of IMAX
Yeah.
Right.
before
Oh, yeah.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's actually why they ended up moving the release date up 2 days, like to the Wednesday instead of the Friday.
Yeah,
For
I
this
saw it on a
movie, yeah.
Tuesday.
Because they wanted the extra days for the IMAX.
Wait, I'm sorry, Christian. A Tuesday.
I saw it on
Tuesday.
I mean, I was like on the Regal app, and I was like, oh, I need to watch, see this Tom Cruise movie now, and I was like, Tuesday, what the fuck? And I saw it on 5 o'clock. There was only one showing on the Tuesday. It was
Because that was the opening. That was the
it's
opening.
the
night.
opening.
so 5 p.m. in IMAX. Theater was pretty full. So whatever, say what you will, he still draws the crowd.
And that's where I want to jump in real quick before we get towards your DVD chapter list thing. I want to talk about my movie experience because it was unique. I think it was probably the most unique movie experience I've ever been to. I was telling Arjuna before we started the pod, right? This movie, I did not have a lot of interest in seeing. I put off seeing this film literally
About four times.
right? Like I could have seen it with both Arjuna, I could have seen it with Learman a couple of times. I could have seen this a bunch of times. And I knew that we were doing this pod, and I was like, you know what? I have not much going on today. I'll go see this film. And I wanted to see the movie in the middle of the day and early enough so that I have a couple of hours before we do the pod. And the only time that there was a reasonable screening, it was either at 10 a.m. and then the next one IMAX and Dolby was 3 or whatever, which would have been really pushing it.
Right.
So the only other available screening was at 12:30, closed captioning. So I booked my ticket. I'm a third row believer.
Yeah.
Because it's the most immersive that you can get. Now and this is closed captioning screening, which means it's also just a standard theater screen. There's nothing fancy about it. There's no extra speakers. There's no wider format. There's no laser projector. Just your standard run-of-the-mill shit. Which, for a movie I'm whatever about, great. So I get into the theater. I'm sitting in the third row. I timed it because I wanted to skip the Nicole Kidman we come to the movies bullshit. But I unfortunately I got there too early. I got the end of the Haunted Mansion trailer. And I'm in the third row, and I don't know if you've ever been in a dark room by yourself. But when you have speakers and everything going, you're very aware of the noise, and you feel is there someone behind me? Is there someone behind me? So I couldn't stay in the third row. So I went to the middle of the theater. So I'm in the middle of the theater. I have perfect view of everything. I can see my exits. I am safe. I am safe.
Yeah.
So the movie.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So the movie starts. Everything's going well. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, I got my popcorn. I got my soda. Just munching away like a fucking lunatic because I'm starving. And an usher comes into the theater with a flashlight and is basically scanning the room, right, to see if there are people there, I guess. And I eventually he sees that I'm there. I'm waving. I'm like, okay. And he comes up. This is in the middle of the movie, or like the beginning part of the movie. He's like, "Oh, we're just checking to see if anyone actually came, because if not, we're going to close the theater." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I was like, "No, I'm going to be here." He's like, "Are you going to stay for the whole film?" Like, yes.
Well, actually, that's a funny phenomenon with people having A-list now.
Yes.
Because you can book 3 movies a week. People don't
Go
for the whole movie.
Right.
Like sometimes if it's a longer movie, they'll break it up into 2 parts.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna do an hour and a half,
Right.
and then I'm gonna leave, and then I'm gonna do another hour and a half. Like I have someone that I know who like saw like Spider-Man No Way Home a bunch of times.
But in pieces.
But he saw it like the first couple times for the full amount, but then he's like, I'm gonna watch to the parts that I want to, and then it's like, you know what, I'm good without that last half hour with like the emotional goodbyes or whatever. So he's like, I'm gonna peace out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
people,
that
people,
makes
people
sense.
do that. It's actually
Okay.
like a user habit.
So that, I mean, but why I bring it up is because the opening of this film to me was like one of the coolest sequences, because the tension, the rising action was just so intense. And then to have someone like flashing a light in you was just like, what? I didn't like, at first I thought I did something wrong.
Right.
I don't know why I thought that, but that's what I thought.
Did do something wrong.
So there was,
You
so there
moved
was that.
seats.
Yeah, no, and that's the other thing, because I had an entire theater to myself. So 2 things happened. I kept moving around. When I felt sore, I stood up and stretched, which was fantastic. Like, you shouldn't sit for 2 hours and 45 minutes. You should move. So I loved that.
Yes.
And then also there were parts of the film that were slow. So, and there was no one in the theater. So I definitely pulled my phone out.
Oh my
At
God.
points it was just like, checking
Holy
some
crap.
emails. Like,
Wow,
yeah,
wow, wow.
yeah. And then the last part I would say is because it was closed captioning, and this I thought is very interesting. And some people have said this before, like putting captions on helps with like understanding the story. And I will say, like, I feel like I have a better understanding of what was happening because of the closed captionings in terms of remembering character names even, and locations even, and plot points and whatnot.
Are you saying we should do a quiz competition during this podcast to see who understood it better?
Yes,
I think you'd win.
I probably would.
Also saw it the most recent. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally a couple hours ago. So I would hope so, just based on that fact. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, I am only going to be seeing movies now during the week in the middle of the day, closed captioning.
It's the best time. I don't know about the closed captioning, but
But I feel like I feel those theaters are most likely going to be emptier than any other theater, just
sure,
because I think it's a wonderful thing. It's great that they're doing that. Like, that's important to do. I would hope that more people utilize that if that's something you need, and hopefully maybe if people don't know about it now, they'll know about it. Like, that is an option that AMC offers, is closed captioning, so you can go see the movies and see Tom be the fucking savior again.
the manifestation of destiny.
For reals.
I am a god.
I think, was it Alec Baldwin in Fallout that calls him the manifestation
something
of
like
destiny?
that.
Or was that the guy in this one on the plane when he was like, don't feel secure until, the guy who was chasing him the whole time?
Oh, right.
And he goes on that whole
Shea
speech about
Wiggum's character?
Yes.
how
yeah.
he's basically a shape-shifting god or something.
Yeah.
lizard
Lizard
person. All right, let's get into our Junior's DVD chapter listing so we can remember other key aspects of this film. As always, Krishner is going to do this, and he's going to do it in the voice of Simon Pegg screaming at Tom to just get over it and fly off of a fucking cliff.
Does he have a British accent in this movie?
Yes,
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
British.
Fuck.
I mean, I would argue it's also the same voice he uses in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything but Star Trek.
Might be his own voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
It feels like
so just do it as Simon Pegg, basically.
Oh, man. This is going to be... Well, you asked for it. A Junior's DVD chapter listing for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
part 1.
Part 1. Not Death Reckoning. Ravi. Hunter Killer, the prologue. Ugh. They should get that tape recorder checked. I hate sand. It gets everywhere. Face stuff. Nothing good ever happens in an airport. You either die a hero or live long enough to see ChatGPT become the villain.
Good.
Fast X Part 2. John Wick 4.5 or 4.5. Juliet must die so Sharon can live. Deals on the Orient Express. The Stunt. Uncharted 3 starring Tom Cruise. I want to tell you about the Avengers Initiative. The end.
Accent or voice will get a 2.3 out of 10.
Generous.
Yeah,
Generous.
pretty good. I think the general overall, probably like a 7.6. I think the Chat GPT one was pretty good.
I was proud of that one.
Yeah, and that also like brings up like a good point, like the fact that like the main antagonist, if you will, of the film is this thing called Entity, and I don't know. Again, as soon as they kind of like did their verbal diarrhea of like explaining everything, I definitely laughed. And it also was kind of funny too, for me anyways, like the second trailer for The Creator, which is the new film from the Rogue One director, Gareth Edwards film, which is very much about AI coming sentient and wanting to nuke us to hell. It is interesting that like AI is like a big forefront in terms of like we should be scared of it.
I will say, Arjuna, you had a chance to make a really a smart one, but then you added onto it. Juliet Must Die. You should have left it right there, because then it could mirror the movie Romeo Must Die, the Jet Li movie.
I did think about that because I called her Juliet because that's her character name in Silo.
Right.
But then I wanted so Sharon can live because
Sharon Tate.
Sharon Carter is the character that she plays in. It's Peggy Carter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
I messed it
Sharon
up.
Carter's her
Her niece.
grandniece daughter thing. Yeah, that's why I was super confused. I didn't want to say anything, but you called it out.
Should have
so
just
it's fine.
left it at Juliet Must Die.
I should have.
Yep.
You should have left it. That's fine. That's fine. So speaking of the DVD chapter listing, you had The Stunt, and The Stunt was presented through a marketing lens as this big, impactful, crazy ass thing, and we saw it literally a billion times before you even like got into the theater. And when you actually see it on the big screen, it's
fine. I mean, like it's cool. It's a cool moment. Like, you know, they did the right editing tricks of like really just like taking away the music and just like having the natural sound and everything. But yeah, it's just like you've seen it a billion times, like up to that point, because
There's no mystique to
the
it.
marketing, like
they showed it so much.
overkill of just showing that over and over again. When you just even in the movies, like when you seeing other movies this summer, there's always like a little trailer or featurette featuring the stunt from Mission Impossible. It was always on for ads for anything on TV. So like they really were like, hey, make sure everybody on the goddamn planet has seen this stunt before we've seen the movie.
It's probably to keep people from having a heart attack in the film from surprise. No, but there was a moment before that where he like tells Benji, he's like, "Oh, I missed the train," right? Like right before he does that, he's like on a motorcycle and he just kind of pops up a hill and comes into the camera, and it's like that to me was almost more impressive because it's like, oh yeah, that's really Tom Cruise riding a dirt bike, right? Popping over as if it were nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah, the part where he like jumps the wall, right?
Yeah.
He comes out from underneath the bridge or whatever
And then it
pops
pops
up.
up.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I've seen that. I'm like, oh wow, Tom Cruise. You know, I trust him with that. I think.
Oh, they do. I think he did all the motorcycle stuff and Fallout.
He does. He does all his own stunts because like the
61.
the
61.
The Fallout stunt he did was the parachuting, right? The Halo jump.
Yeah, off of the
that
Abu
was
Dhabi
from the
Tower,
plane.
right?
No, that was the movie
Out of the
before,
airplane.
Out of the airplane.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
With
And
the
Henry
masks.
Cavill was upset because he also wanted to do it, but Cruise is like, no, only I can do it because of insurance and stuff. Too.
Sure.
Oh
Yeah.
And
Well,
also
actually-
because if you remember in that movie, Cavill falls out of the plane unconscious. So like they didn't want to like.
No, he gets
You
struck
have
by
to-
lightning, and that causes him to go
Yeah,
unconscious.
so we're like, you
Jeez, well,
can't.
okay.
They're like, you can't do it unconscious.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was hearing something like the jump that they did like normally takes 1,000 jumps to get like to a point
Prepared
of
for.
comfortability, and he only had like 400 before he had to do it or something like that.
And then they did 7 takes of it, so he like destroyed 7 motorcycles.
of this one, I was talking about the Halo.
Oh,
jump.
right.
Oh, okay.
For this one, for this
Yeah.
jump, like he practiced it a bunch of times, but then they actually did the jump with the motorcycle and basically plunging to its death 7 times.
Yeah.
So
destroyed them.
here's a bigger question: like, do you guys find any of that impressive, or is it just ego self jerk off?
I mean, this is like the 3rd or 4th one where they've like presented the big stunt, right? This one is not number 1 for me.
Sure.
In terms of like how impressive it is.
Really?
No. I don't know. Like it's a cool moment in the movie, but like it doesn't.
Well,
I don't know,
sorry.
but it just doesn't. Maybe because it was of the marketing overkill,
Sure.
but I was just like, yeah.
I mean, I'm not even talking like specific to this. I'm just talking like in general, like because a lot of like Tom Cruise stans will say, you know, oh my God, he's amazing because he does his own stunts.
Yeah.
And my question though is like, is that actually impressive when you have insurance, you have safety, you have money, and all these things and training behind you to
It is.
stop you?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it is.
it is impressive.
Especially
Only because
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I don't have a shot with both of you at the same time like I do with Ravi and Arjuna.
it is impressive because he's the only one doing it at that level in Hollywood. So you're right, there is a bunch of safety and insurance, as there should be, right?
Right.
But he's the only one doing it, and that doesn't take away from how many hours he has to put in to do that training. I mean, say what you will about Tom Cruise, as a person, and how you feel about him personally. Like our dad hates him, and many people do, and he's got interesting ideas about a whole bunch of stuff. You can't take away the fact that he does put in that work.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
But
on that level, it's
I'm always
Plus-
like, hold on. I'm always like, this is why I always fight back on like the Marvel body, the toned look, the amazing stunts. If you're being paid to do this, though,
yeah.
right? Like you are being given a paycheck,
But
to
he doesn't
do
have
this.
But then you just answered it, right?
Sure,
He doesn't have to do it, but he does, and that's impressive.
that's fair.
Also, we
that is
just
fair.
talked about all the stunt stuff that they showed. Like he had a parachute and a motorcycle. There was no like safety harness or anything for this stunt. Like as much as he had insurance, the insurance was life insurance. Like he was gonna,
Right. No,
he
of
was
course,
gonna die.
of course,
or,
of course.
Which then we would have heard about the stunt a long time ago.
The movie becomes infamous forever.
There you go.
And here's the thing that's smart about it in terms of how they're playing it. It is the marketing behind it because
Right.
that is what like they're able to differentiate from everything else. This is real. This isn't just CGI or green screen.
Right.
And it gets a lot of people to go see the movie, right? Because they're like, I want to see how Tom Cruise almost died. Essentially.
But he didn't.
No, he didn't die, but like he put his life on the line, right? For this. Which how many actors can you say that where it's like I was in a harness in front of a blue screen and
I'm so happy you said he put his life on the line for this.
Yeah.
And our junior probably gonna get up and slap me for bringing this up.
I'm gonna cut to the wide.
I don't think Arjun's going to get up and hit me for this. But one of the things that really took me out of this film, and I've said this before about other films like Dungeons and Dragons and a number of post-COVID films, the fucking intro from either director and someone of the cast or the entire cast and the bullshit statement of you are so fucking brave and thank you and bullshit.
this one was overkill.
Wait,
This one
when did
was-
they
wait,
do that?
They did, I got that in front of my movie too.
And you went to like a press screening.
I did
No,
not.
it wasn't
Oh,
a
no,
press
you went
screening.
to
It was
the
the
early
AMC early
access.
access.
Whoa.
Yes.
I did not get any
I got
message
that.
before.
I
the
got
meeting.
an early message thing that's like, you were so brave and thank you so much. We made this movie for you to see it on the big screen.
Yep.
And you're essentially, it's just like a slap in the face of like
all the millions who died.
it's not even just that. It's just, it's super fucking annoying. It's pandering. It's so stupid. It is so fucking stupid.
Not only this is the strangest. Well, it's not that strange, but not only did I not get that message, I didn't actually get any trailers. The lights went down at 5:02, and the movie started.
That's amazing.
I was like, this immediately elevated the movie experience.
Right.
I didn't have to sit through I sit through 6 trailers that I've seen ad nauseum for the last 6 months. Right. So yeah, that's really interesting that you and Arjuna got that, and me and Learman did not.
I got that.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then I also got another thing, which was like a 6-minute like feature of them going to all the premieres in the different countries that the movie was shot in.
Whoa.
And I was like, and there were people in the theater, because this was like after the 30+ minutes of AMC trailers, and then there's like another 10 minutes of all this pre-stuff, and people were just like, start the fucking movie. Like, this is a 2-hour and 45+ minute movie, and you have like another 45 minutes
It's
of
getting
stuff with
like
that.
this is the thing that's getting like this is why I don't like the likes of Tom Cruise. I don't like the Christopher Nolans of the world because it's the self jerk off is just it's getting fucking insane.
Well, I think
it is getting insane.
I think it's that, but I also do like maybe there's some way to look this up, but it does feel like there are more trailers than there ever have been in front of a movie. Right?
I think there are.
And if you go back and you watch older movies, right? Remember opening
They feel
credits?
longer too.
Opening credits used to be like a bigger thing.
Right.
And the reason is because it gives people time to get to the theater.
Right. Get their popcorn, get their seats,
and now it feels
get
like
situated.
We're going to add a shit ton of trailers to give people time to get to the theater. So even if if the movie's at 6 and they show up in the parking lot at 6, they have enough time to park their car, walk in, use the bathroom, get 4 different types of concessions, talk with their friends, and then get in and sit down. And it's crazy.
my God.
Like I think it's crazy. Just
I
don't know.
I do think I'm also annoyed, but since I didn't get that message, I'm not freshly annoyed. But like, I do think that there is a push by them. I think it's a love of the theater experiences because I used to be a huge like I go see it in the theater. I don't go see it at home because the theater's the best way to see it.
Yeah,
and I agree to an extent, but I have had since COVID, I've had a thoroughly more poor theater experience to the point that I almost don't want to go to the theater anymore. Same. And I think that's what they're fighting back against is people like me who don't feel the need to go to the theater. So when people do, but to them, they're preserving something that is
an art form.
Cool.
Yeah. But it's interesting.
They can, just show the movie though. The movie is the reward.
Exactly. Like to Arjuna's point of like,
you don't need a 10-minute message.
Yeah, 30 minutes of trailers and then 6-7 more minutes of just teasing.
Here's the movie you're going to see.
And it's like
the thing that actually annoyed me about the vignette we got of them doing the premieres. They showed extra footage and extra stuff in the movie, and I was pissed off because I'm like, it spoiled like half of the movie, and I'm just like.
What was the point?
Why I seeing the movie right now? Like I don't. Who is this for? Like is crazy.
It's for the people who leave halfway through.
I guess so. Like I don't know.
Fair enough.
Right.
But it also feels like a business decision, right? Because it's like we give people more time, we're elongating it so people get more snacks, we make more money. Like, I read the greed.
Hold on a second. Have you though personally, and maybe we're all freaks. But have you ever like left halfway through a movie to go get more snacks?
No.
Yes.
Me either.
Really? I will say this. I will say that during this movie, I saw 7 people leave about halfway through to get a refill on that popcorn. I've never seen that many people in a movie before.
And
it's
you
like
counted
they came
them.
prepared to do that.
Yeah, and you counted them.
I saw a lot of.
I mean, I sat in the 4th row, so I saw when people were moving to the sides.
Right.
And I was like the person who was like 2 seats down got up and did it. I saw like 4 people on the right side, 3 on the left. I was like, people came prepared to do that.
I saw a lot of people getting up to like to use the bathroom, get snacks, and this just felt like a movie that had the very obvious like this is the action part, this is a talking part, and it was always the talking part.
Oh
people
no,
were
Arjuna.
like,
Eating
They
their
watched
noisy.
They watched
nerds.
our FAQ. And they knew when to go to the bathroom because Ravi outlined 2 very specific moments in that viral video that has millions of views.
Should one of our new talking points, like when we get, access to see things prior when we do see things, should another one be like, is this a Hollywood self-jerk-off film?
most of the time,
I would say no, but no.
Okay. Let's because we have other things to do tonight, so we should keep going here. But let's get into bold predictions for part 2 because there is going to be a part 2, and because I am, you know what? I'll say this: I'm not watching part 2 because I want to give people more money. I'm doing it because of the integrity of the podcast. Boom.
And
I respect
all
that.
of you watching us right now are heroes.
Yes, you are.
For watching this
fact,
podcast.
for watching
Smash
this
that like
podcast.
and
See this
subscribe
podcast.
button.
Yeah, be a bigger hero and show us how strong your
Yeah.
like and subscribe hand is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
Oh my god. Anyway, does anyone have bold predictions?
well, we I mean, we haven't talked a lot about the plot of this movie. We
That's
talked more about
fine.
the experience. Yeah,
We basically did with
and
the Dead
whatnot.
Reckoning.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did.
But my bold prediction for part 2 is that it will
Be a film.
end with Ethan being victorious yet again
That's not a bold fucking prediction.
and hanging out with his friends, because this is a franchise of friendship, not family.
Right.
Friendship. And it's all about friends. I don't really have a bold prediction.
That's your bold
my
prediction? Yeah. I was like, that sounds like the
Well, how
everyone's prediction.
how
The
about
end
we-
of
we-
3.
How about we take it outside the plot then? Like,
I have a plot prediction.
So we'll get to Christian's plot predictions there, but aren't you we'll jump to Christian's, but then
Fine, I have a general one.
when I say general, think about what
Yep.
what's the world going to look like?
I got one.
COVID.
Because Dead Reckoning Part 2 is supposed to come out next year. Dead Reckoning Part 2 will make less money than Part 1. And people will be a little bit fatigued with the Mission Impossible franchise and the Tom Cruise portion of it all.
Yeah. Okay.
Neutron disagrees with you. He's looking at you.
It's gonna eat your
Say it.
face.
He won't say it.
Yeah.
My prediction, Learman took mine, that Ethan is going to die. So I'm going to take his.
I'm sorry.
Last night, while we were playing Baldur's Gate, Learman, we were talking about this thing. Like, this movie felt like maybe the first Mission Impossible where everything was sort of laid out from the very beginning. Here's the mission, and here it is. And there wasn't really any twists. Sorry, that's just a tail in Arjuna's frame. That's really hilarious. It's just like. And part 2 seems like it's also setting itself up to be like a relatively straightforward, right? Stop the AI. But Learman then said, "Okay, but do you think
Ilsa?
what was Elsa? Do you think is dead?" And I was like, "Oh." Oh, maybe I haven't thought about it, but maybe. So that would be my bold prediction. Elsa is not dead, and she will make a return, a triumphant return.
Make it better
save
though.
the day.
Like make it like
Only to die.
No,
yet
no, no.
again.
Add in she's the villain. There's
No, she's not the villain.
No, make it go crazy, go super crazy. Make it that there is no such thing as entity. There is no fucking AI. It was Elsa all along. Ilsa. Somehow, I don't know how.
No.
Go crazy with it. That's a good
I'll
bold
go.
prediction.
I'll go a different direction. But so Elsa returns, and she returns in the last 20 minutes, saves Ethan from a bullet, but takes the bullet and then dies anyway.
So she dies 3 times in the 2 movies.
Nice.
Because remember, she pretends to die in the sand.
Well, the government thinks she's dead.
Yeah.
Technically, they
Right.
left a fake body or whatever, right?
Right.
Ooh, I got a better bold prediction.
Okay.
The next movie will be a James Bond, Ethan Hunt crossover, and James Bond will save.
Well, who's
Yeah, I'm
playing
kidding.
James
That's
Bond?
ridiculous.
Daniel Craig.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. is
Well, his
James
character's
Bond.
already dead.
Yeah, that's be tough.
But he's not playing that character. He's playing James Bond.
He had a
I'm
twin.
joking. That's all.
Yeah,
Double
there you go.
casting. There you
Yep,
go.
there.
A British twin.
The British twist.
Because he's CIA and he's CIA, but he's bad.
that's
in,
right. Right.
He
Yeah,
is
the first-
CIA,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's a CIA assassin.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Elsa's returning. That's the bold prediction.
My bold prediction is going to be. I'm going to move 2. One's a really stupid one.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Which one?
The sequel film never happens.
What?
Or it's delayed like 3 to 4 years. Or something excessive.
That sounds.
That's nuts.
That sounds.
Hey, it's bold.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But I'm tying that directly into, based on what Arjun was saying with fatigue, and then also with what's happening currently with the writers and SAG strikes right now as well. I think that's going to fundamentally fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
And then my bold prediction is specific to the plot. I think it's going to be the film is going to end happy-go-lucky. Yay! Ethan Hunt saved the world. Yay! Entity is destroyed. And then there's the post-credit scene, and Entity is not dead.
That just feels like a given, right?
Yeah, it really does. That's what I'm like literally saying. I'm just like, that feels so fucking...
That's the coldest prediction you can
that's
have.
the weakest prediction ever.
No, Juno, you're supposed to coldest.
Well, I was just trying to make it up on the fly, and I just said
Mine is like legit. Like, it's probably what's going to happen. Let's be serious.
Juno's like, my bold prediction is everyone lives happily ever after Ethan Hunt saves the day. Like, what?
Jeremy Renner returns.
At least with Ravi's right, entity living, that poses an interesting like situation, right? Because let's say it's Ethan Hunt's it is his last mission, and if your first prediction comes right, where the movie is delayed 3 to 5 years, Tom Cruise is going to be even older, right, when this thing gets shot and released.
I think most of it's been shot. If
Oh,
I'm
really?
not mistaken. I
think
believe
they doubled
I
up.
believe they did these movies back to back.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that would make sense, and that's probably the very smart way to do it. But even so, if the movie gets delayed, right, he's going to be even older before he can do the next one, which leads credence to the fact that he's probably going to retire. So if Entity is still alive at the end of the next one, and we are getting Haley Atwell as the new IMF agent to follow, then she inherits that problem. That's a good bold prediction, I would say. You know, the implications of it.
Oh, what if at the end the post credit shows that Atwell's character and the Entity team up as two new good guys
To take down Ethan Hunt, who is actually a bad guy.
who's been turned into a zombie?
Entity pulls off its digital face mask to reveal
ChatGPT.
Skynet.
That's
Yo, that would be a cool image. All of these Mission Impossible movies, we see
The face
agents
mask,
and
yeah.
bad guys pulling off masks. So, yeah, what if you have the AI pull off the mask to reveal something else?
What if Gabriel is the AI and he pulls off the mask and he's just a robot?
A Terminator.
Did anyone else find? Speaking of Gabriel, so when they showed like the flashbacks with Gabriel, I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is from the first one."
It looked like it. It did
Yeah,
a
I
good
was
job
like,
of it.
I was like, "Oh," but then and they didn't add context to who that character was, so I like looked it up. I'm like, I must be forgetting this, and I was like, "Nope,
Wait, during the movie?
no, after the movie."
Oh, after the
Yeah,
movie.
because I was
He
like,
wasn't
"Oh."
in a theater by
that's-
himself.
I was like, "Oh, this must be like information," because they don't add a lot of context as to like
Right.
who the female character that like Gabriel eliminated.
that
Oh,
looked
did
like
that not happen
Haley
in the
Atwell.
first movie?
Yeah, like Grace doesn't have a lot of context either. So I'm like, "Oh, this is from the first movie. There must be other context I'm missing." Nope, it's not. It
No.
predates that.
Yeah, and they even say it does.
Yeah, this is.
I wasn't
before
sure. I wasn't
Decision.
sure though if like Mission Impossible 1 started off with like, because I haven't seen it in such a long time. If like it was
Well, it
Right,
starts off
yeah.
with a
origin
betrayal.
or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Mission Impossible 1 starts off with like a betrayal.
But you
or-
don't know it. And also, yeah, it's a different thing. And in this movie, they say, before I was a part of MIF.
Yeah.
IMF.
IMF, yeah.
MIF. MIF is something else. But yeah, it's before. I was confused.
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
well.
I thought like Arjuna, and I'm sure we're not the only ones. I thought that was a Mission Impossible 1.
Like throwback.
I mean, I knew it.
Because then I was like, oh, so he joins IMF at the end of Mission Impossible 1. Like that's what I was assuming. But
No,
damn,
he's already
whoops.
been a member.
He's already part of it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
the thing was the woman looked like Haley Atwell in that flashback.
That's
I didn't
because
see
okay,
that.
let me. It's because
I didn't see
clearly
that.
he has a goddamn type.
I mean, yeah,
White
maybe,
brunettes, and that's
or that's a story relevant thing. Like,
No, he is a type.
because
That's it.
Her character,
Who is Grace?
Where Ethan gets into this character way faster than he
Anyone
should. Like,
else
yeah, like
does.
what is with this Grace character?
He's literally like, "I will kill you if you harm her." I've known her for 24
yeah,
hours.
and I'm like, I don't care about this person.
Yeah.
Like, other than they're a person.
Wait, real quick. Did you care about any of these characters?
Yeah, I care about Ilsa. I care about Hunt. I care about Luther. I care about.
I didn't care
Benji.
about a single.
I'm a MI fan.
I mean,
like
the only
Mission
character I
Impossible.
cared about was Entity because it's a new
course.
life, and you know, how dare these people try and destroy it? It doesn't seem that bad.
I like
think.
Gabriel. I was rooting for Gabriel. I'm kidding.
No, you
He was a
weren't.
dick.
He's a huge dick.
I'm joking.
The
He
you
was a
know
good
who I
villain.
fell for?
He was
You
a
know who I
good
fell for? The train conductors Oh, they're
just
just
brutally
brutally
murdered.
murdered. Just doing their
Brutally
fucking job.
murdered.
Like, Jesus.
And that's why
Actually,
Gabriel's a bad guy.
I will say I did enjoy the two guys chasing Ethan. They were another comedy.
Oh, the CIA.
duo.
They're CIA, right?
No, they're IMF.
They're IMF too.
Yeah, because they knew Kittredge or whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
didn't he call them the clandestine services or some clandestine? When she's like, clandestine
Yeah.
services will come and pick you up.
Right.
and
Yeah.
she's like,
Because
who's that? And he's
Kittredge
like,
is not the
people.
IMF director in this movie. Because Kittredge is the IMF director in the first Mission
Secretary.
Impossible. Or you're right, but he's the secretary of something.
No.
else.
He's the IMF secretary.
Terry.
Because in Fallout, or no, the one Rogue Nation, Jeremy Renner's character, there is no secretary because Kittredge for some reason is gone. I don't remember why. So he's never answering questions because they have no oversight. I don't know why Kittredge is suddenly in the picture now.
Tom Cruise gave him a call and it's like, can you return? He's like, sure.
But can you return as somebody I don't like?
Yeah.
But I do
Can
also
you be like
like
a bit of a dick? Yeah. Like a romantic
wow.
dick.
Wait, Kittredge is a romantic dick?
There was some sexual tension there.
Oh my God, let's get into the big one here. The whole reason we do this. Junior, you should start us off.
I was gonna say Ravi should start us off.
Oh, okay.
Only 'cause
who do
at least-
I think is crazier. Arjuna was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning 1.
Part 1.
Part 1. Tom Cruise's saving of Hollywood attempt. Just before a massive strike in the United States history.
Yeah, 2.
Good.
I'm going to say no. It was not good.
Whoa, that surprises the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
That's why we're having Ravi go last.
I didn't. There were too many things that detracted me from the movie.
Sure.
I think there's been many better Mission Impossible movies that I've enjoyed more.
Yeah.
And to me, like the franchise like was showing its age a bit, if you know what I mean. Like I just felt like I just feel like there's been other ones that were better. I thought the plot like didn't move me. I thought there were too many things that I had questions about, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Didn't work for me.
It's fair.
Yeah. I was like, no, this doesn't. Yeah. I was disappointed by it.
It's going to be a no for me.
No for me, dog.
Oh, I was going to say brother, but that's the line.
Yeah.
Cool.
Krishna, was Mission Impossible... Michael's face is still just open. Krishna,
Michael's face is frozen in time.
Was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 good?
Yeah, it was good.
Shit,
Let's,
damn.
let's remember what you're going to see. You're going to see a Mission Impossible movie, right?
Sure.
So good action sequences. Like I said, I thought this movie was like funnier than previous entries, and I thought that really worked for it. It was fun. I had a lot of fun.
See, I didn't have fun.
Well,
That was the issue.
honestly, your prologue before the movie started probably didn't help. I had no prologue and no trailers and got right into the movie. I was like, "This is amazing! I wish
like
every
right
movie
there.
did this."
Yeah.
I was right in it.
But
So
we should also preface it like Krishna is kind of a Tom Cruise stan. Like, do
Is-
you guys remember Top Gun?
Yeah, Krishna
Top
does,
Gun
Krishna,
Maverick.
Krishna's a
Great.
big
By
Top
the
Gun
way,
guy.
three of the people from Top Gun Maverick were in this movie. So that was
Wait,
amazing.
3? Who?
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So we had Charles Parnell, who's like just the beginning of
Right.
of Mission Impossible, and then CIA partner guy, or not CIA partner guy, but the
IMF
the,
partner.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the younger guy. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
He's
he's,
also
he's
in
one,
this-
of the, he's
okay,
one of the
gotcha.
pilots.
Right.
I think he's the pilot who passes out during the training in Maverick.
Well, Krishna, before you ask me, I'm kind of curious. So obviously, like, Tom Cruise's Hollywood savior with all the money he's bringing with his, Top Gun Mavericks and now Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I like his action movies.
Right. But which one of the two do you like more?
Maverick, Top Gun.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, Top Gun Maverick for me is like one of. First of all, I love those like fighter movies. Like part of the reason I love New Hope so much, or I liked it the first time I saw it, was because of the ships, the piloting.
Because it was Top
just a
Gun
stand for
Maverick
that.
Part 1.
What?
Nothing.
What?
Oh, right, yeah. Boom. So yeah.
Boom.
Maverick.
Boom.
Ravi, you're gonna have to break this tie here.
I know.
I almost asked you, was Top Gun Maverick good? Was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 good?
Pausing for dramatic effect / I forgot what I was gonna say.
What the fuck?
No, I'm gonna stick to my guns, and my guns are no, it's not good.
Oh shit!
Here's the thing, like I have been in emptier movie theaters where I can easily pull out my phone if I'm bored or whatever. This film just had a lot of spots where it dragged out. It just was not. It did not hold my attention, and I think the other big thing too is. Before this film, I was trying to remember the other Mission Impossibles. And granted, yes, it's been a couple of years. Yeah. But there's no emotional connection to those films and like what happens in those films. I don't care about the Ethan Hunt character. I don't care about the side characters because there's never an emotional punch or whatever. And I'm not saying this because like I absolutely hate Tom Cruise and I think everything he does is garbage. There's a film he's in, I believe it's called Oblivion. I might be completely wrong.
Oh, the sci-fi.
The sci-fi
It
film.
is called Oblivion.
It is called Oblivion. And I think he's great in that movie. He does a great fucking
Or
job.
that Live, Die, Repeat movie. That's not actually called that.
Yeah, exactly.
Edge of
Edge
Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Like he
Great
does
movie.
good roles where he can play a character where there's an emotional thing where you give a flying fuck about this character. Mission Impossible is just not it. It is just so
I am
sour
so shocked to hear you
cream.
say this.
Sour cream.
Ravi, the man who hates character development.
Yeah, I was gonna
is
say.
bashing a character that he feels nothing for.
Sure.
What?
It's not that I hate character development. I just hate forced character development. I.e. what we got in Foundation Season 2, Episode 1, where it's like, oh, we're going to have, Gale and Salvor, and we're going to force them to talk about their feelings, and it's not natural, and it's uncomfortable. That kind of
Nailed.
forced shit. Like, that's boring. Like, here's another example, too, actually, real quick, if you want to go in the character development thing. There's this analogy between Rogue One and A New Hope for Star Wars. Specifically during the action sequences. Why do you remember the action sequences more in A New Hope than that of Rogue One? And that's because there's dialogue. There are things happening. The characters are being themselves. They are not just being silent and shooting, going poo, 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 poo. Boring action sequences. And like the majority of the time, honestly, I took my phone out was during the action sequences.
Wow.
Because they were fucking just generic and boring and shit's happening. And I've seen it a billion times in my life. There's no discussion. There's no tension building. There's just pew, 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 pew.
Right, and the character development doesn't in action sequences doesn't always have to come from dialogue.
No,
there
sure.
there can be
Emotional
things that go into
happen.
it.
Yeah,
but you didn't feel that at
Ravi,
least. It
felt
was
nothing.
possible.
As
Felt
this
nothing.
evolved version of yourself, you should honestly, and I'm being serious,
Okay.
go back and watch Triple Frontier. You might look at that movie a little bit differently.
I will
Based on what you
genuinely
just said.
I'll genuinely actually like at some point when I'm like the summer blockbuster of good TV and meh movies is done. God, I can't believe Arjuna was right about the summer TV versus movies. You said TV would, yeah, and he's winning very well. Like, yeah, it's TV is
Winning
killing
very goodly.
very goodly, very goodly. But I will probably go back and like genuinely like rewatch Triple Frontier because again, like you look at the cast and it's like, it's a good cast.
Also, that I just thought the motivation for the characters in that movie were like what you've just said you wanted. So
we
you
go.
should rewatch.
Is this what
that
you
movie.
wanted?
This is what you asked
Are
for.
you entertained?
Are you not entertained? Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for us here on the podcast. Thank you for tuning in, listening, watching us scream about Hollywood and the fact that we don't get paid to ride dirt bikes off of hills.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Tiny little hills.
Tiny little hills. As always, you can find our full episodes on youtube.com/wasitgood. You can follow us on the socials on TikTok, Instagram, Threads at wasitgoodpod, and on Twitter at wasitgood. Check out our website, wasitgood.info. Arjuna or Krishna, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we'll be taking a little bit of a break because we will be at Comic-Con, so definitely follow those social channels. But we will be coming back with
Oppenheimer
at
some point
Yes. At some point.
in the future, unless the bomb does win.
What about Barbie?
We're
I don't think we have enough consensus for
yeah,
Barbie.
we're all over the place with
Okay.
that film.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do the Oppenheimer of Barbenheimer.
Ba-boom-ba-da-boom.
Nice.
What does
Perfect.
Baymax do? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Goodbye.